Hello, Tiffin. Welcome to today's episode of Tiffin Talk. I don't know what number we're on, so we can't even say which number.
Nope.
I am Mayor Tim Kasparek.
And I am Mayor Pro Tem Councilmember Tim Orris.
Tiffin continues to grow quickly, and there's a lot happening around town, of course, from new businesses and development, projects to parks, events, and future plans. I didn't write any of that. So today, we are sitting down with none other than City Administrator Doug Boldt. Doug, welcome to our studio.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
This is like quite the honor. We were talking about it beforehand. I'm a little nervous.
Oh, I'm not. Bring it on. Like I said, bring him on. I got questions for this guy. And I know you did too.
He's been dodging us this whole time. It took us to episode 6 or 8 or 10 or whatever we're on, and now he finally agrees.
I thought you were on 50.
Wow, we could be. This guy
we're not counting the times we had to throw them away because they weren't good. So
Mayor Pro Tem MPT, if he would ever stop taking vacation, we could do more of these.
I've been around for a whole 6 hours this time. Come on.
So Doug, for the people that don't know, and I feel like you keep yourself a little bit of a secret around here, kind of. Tell our listening public a little intro into Doug Boldt.
Okay. Well.
Uh-oh. You just opened a whole can of worms, buddy. Oh, dear.
I grew up in Wilton, Iowa. It's probably about 40, 45 minutes from here. Clear Creek, Amana, and Wilton were in the same Eastern Iowa Hawkeye Conference, so Tiffin was not unfamiliar to me, 11 years ago when I took this job. But from Wilton, I went to University of Northern Iowa. I got a degree in public administration. Did an internship with the City of Independence after I graduated, and then I got a job with the City of Maquoketa as their Director of Public Works. And then I was only there about 18 months, and I took the same position with the City of Tipton. That would have been so I took the job in Maquoketa in 96. I moved to Tipton in 98, and then I was promoted to city manager in 05. And then I was there until 2012, and I took about a 3-year hiatus from the profession, and myself and another individual, bought a business together, and it was okay. It was fine. We didn't probably blaze the trail that we thought we were going to, or else I probably wouldn't be here. But it was good, and like I said, about 3 years of that, I decided it was time to get back in the profession, and this job came available. I reached out to Ryan Heyer up in North Liberty. I asked him about it, and basically he said, Doug, you need to apply for this job. So interviewed, and I was lucky enough to be selected, and that was May of 2015. So it was May 18th of 2015. And so it's been 11 years that I've been here.
You and I talk a lot. I have not heard anything about your 3-year hiatus into your own business venture. We're going to have to talk about that sometime.
Well, and let me be the first to say I'm glad that didn't take off like you wanted it to. No offense, but otherwise we wouldn't have you here. So.
What was interesting about that is that, being away for 3 years, I kind of thought that I might have to learn some of the lingo again. I hadn't been speaking the language for about 3 years, and I was a little bit nervous about that. And, I'll never forget when I came here and, kind of got entrenched again. It really felt like I had just gone on vacation for about 2 weeks. I was very pleased at how fast it came back to me. And again, I still had a lot of connections, obviously, in the profession, with, again, Ryan Heyer, Kelly Hayworth, Chris Noshbish, some of those guys that are still around here in Mount Vernon. So it didn't take me long. I'm thankful of that. But it's been a great 11 years. I have no complaints.
Well, and I know you've said before, you still kind of miss your public works days.
I do.
Riding on garbage truck and things like that.
That's right. That's I tell you, that's the beginning of this. I was summer help for the city of Wilton while I was going to college, so I literally started in this profession by riding on the back of the garbage truck with the city of Wilton, throwing asphalt, pouring concrete, mowing grass, all that kind of stuff. And I stayed up in Cedar Falls my junior and senior year, worked for the city of Cedar Falls again as summer help. I did do a co-op for their water reclamation facility into my senior year, so I was trying to get a little bit in several departments while I was there. And those were some of my best days riding on the back of the garbage truck.
I would give anything to see a picture of him on the back of a garbage truck.
Well, here's the thing.
Or throwing garbage.
If you want, there is an example of this. Approximately once a year,
that's right,
you can go out to the park during Amnesty Day, and you'll see this guy out there with the pair of the brightest new boots and new jeans.
No. You weren't even there this year. MPT knows how dirty my boots were,
and you're right. His boots were so bright,
had a rip in them.
He actually
everything
pays
like that. But that is one of my favorite days.
There's a farmer down the road. He pays to wear those boots for the year ahead of time, so he can come with dirty boots.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't know that.
That is not.
That
true.
is it's a hidden secret.
Now it's no longer a secret.
Wow.
For the 15 people that listen to this podcast, they're all going to know
15 people know that now.
That's right.
Doug, we've got a loose order here of how we want to go through this, but I think just personally, I would like you to talk about the profession of city administration, because I think, and maybe I'm just speaking for myself, maybe other people understand it, but I know that I didn't have a great view on all that you did prior to me coming in, and I'm fascinated by the profession. I think you know this by now, that you impress me quite a bit, even though I like to give you a hard time. It's one of those roles that, in my opinion, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Doug, is part of your life. Because it has to be if you're going to do it at the level that you do it.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, so the simple answer to that question is I run the day-to-day operations of the city based on the policies and procedures that are implemented, or I should say approved, by the city council. And that is anything from, park, maintenance and street maintenance and, things like that. Anything that has to do with water, sewer, water, sewer, storm sewers, stuff like that. Everything that we do that's rezoning, planning and zoning is a big part of that. A big part of this, even though we have a building official, the growth that we have, it takes more than, just one person to tackle all of that. But the other part of it is the city projects. And that's probably a big part of it, is that the city projects have to be managed, have to be coordinated, have to be financially sound in that entire process from start to finish. One of the things that I get to deal with here in Tiffin that, you may not get to deal, other cities administrators may not get to deal with, is again the development. So the other hat of this is dealing with the developers, the contractors, the prospects, the business opportunities, from your mom and pop that may want to come in and they're asking questions about Tiffin and what it would be like to, operate a business here, to the big box individuals, for example, homemakers, and anything in between that. And again, that's just kind of it in a nutshell. Obviously, there's personnel that you deal with as a manager or as an administrator, but the key to all that is leadership, right? And leadership starts at the mayor and council level. I know how corny that sounds, being that you guys are sitting right here.
Good plug, though.
Staring
Smart.
at me.
Really smart. Yeah,
yeah.
I feel
But-
good.
His review's coming up, right? Yeah, how soon?
Right, but it honestly and truly, it starts there. There has to be solid leadership at the mayor and council level for all of that to get to me, to get distributed out, and for it to work.
I think it's a fascinating, and there's a lot going on around us right now. I've been watching, Iowa City schools deal with their situation that they have going on over there, and just looking at different topics around the area. I'm always fascinated, or I find it interesting, the relation of what you just described, that the direction is coming from the mayor and council, and honestly, mostly the council, as a non-voting party. Doug, you always say this so perfectly simple in that you're 2 votes away from not having a job. And so I think that, like, I don't know if it's in a list of our questions, but like a lot of the misconception I would imagine that some folks may have is that you run things. And yes, you do, but it is, like you said, at the direction of the council. And I think the fascinating part about that, though, is it's a circle that kind of just keeps going around, because as much as we give you direction, then you're providing us with input and your own directions or guidance in terms of how we should be making decisions and things like that. I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
I'm just going to say, Doug doesn't run things. Doug makes things run.
Ooh.
See, I mean, basically that he brings ideas, he brings new policies, what have you, to the council and says, here, I have this. And he justifies it. It's not, we want this, just vote for it. It's like, okay, here's the backstory on this. We need this because we have this and this and this happening, and we've grown so much that it's time we have to address these issues, and lays it out for the council, and like I said, then the council, says thumbs up, thumbs down. If it's thumbs up, we give it back to Doug and say, okay, let's go through the process to make this an ordinance or a resolution, what have you. And once it is, Doug hits the ground running and says, okay, now what are we going to do to make this run, make this work? So, yes.
Well, and that's the thing. I know we want you to speak more than us, but we like to hear ourselves talk too.
Oh, yeah.
And you and I have talked about this before, that I know I personally would have trouble with this in your profession, is the idea that you have ideas, you have thoughts of how certain things could be, and inevitably the council doesn't vote in the way that you may think is best. That part would challenge me.
Yep.
Yeah, but that probably doesn't happen as much as what you think that it does, only for the fact that...
You're always right.
No.
Oh.
No. That's not always the mindset that I have when we're talking about a policy, procedure, or project. Because again, the council gives direction, and it's broad, and it's supposed to be broad, because again, the council comes to this building twice a month, spends 2 to 4 hours a month creating policy and procedure and direction for us as employees to carry out, and we're here 40 hours a week. So that funnel is set up that way on purpose. So if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, then you guys are getting all of the information. I'm over communicating with you guys. I'm producing, hopefully more than enough information for that decision to be made, whichever way it goes. And then for myself and then, everybody else who's working for the city to carry out what that direction is. So, yeah, it's few and far between where I'm thinking that we should be going in a different direction or something got decided that didn't align with what I think, only because that's not really how I process a project, a policy, a procedure, an issue that the council is to address for the community as a whole, because that's the big thing. And that's maybe the hardest thing, is to understand that what we are doing is for the entire community.
Right.
Period. It's not just for 1 or 2 people. It's not for 10 people. It's not for 15 people. The decisions that the council makes is for the betterment of the entire community.
All right. Well, I can scratch off the next question, which was, what's your process to be so successful with the council? So, I think you just answered that one.
Say nice things to us.
Yeah.
While we're
over, as he said, what he didn't say was he overloads us with information, and you don't have any questions when you come to the council other than, when are we going to vote on this kind of thing. So,
but that's the other part of it too, is that, again, if I'm doing my job, if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, then you guys probably should have questions in reference to all of that information, so you can make the best decision based on all of that once you narrow down everything.
Right. But and as I'll say, there, 5 heads are better than, or 6 heads are better than one, you being included. He doesn't get a vote. Mayor doesn't get a vote, so we don't account him.
I don't even know why I'm here.
But that's just it. You bring that information, but yet there's still, when there are questions, you have the answers too. I will say that. And if you don't, we get them in the next couple of days.
We'll get them.
Here's what's going on. So I think, it makes the council's job much easier.
Yeah.
Not saying it's an easy job, but just saying it's easier when you have thorough information. So.
And again, we're getting into the weeds here maybe a little bit, but again, that doesn't just stop with me. I mean, direction that comes from you guys, we have department heads that come into the process, and employees, from there that all participate in some way, shape, or form. It might not be in every single council meeting like you'll see the information that you're getting from me.
Right.
But everybody plays a role in that at some point throughout the year in all of our council meetings.
And if you want to make sure you get it approved, you bring Brian Dieter in, and no one's going to argue with Brian. It's like, yes, sir, what is it we do? Just kidding. Brian's a great guy.
I agree. We are getting into the weeds. We can move on to more fun stuff.
Oh, no, I was just...
no, but I the reason why I wanted to get into the weeds a little bit is I just think, again, I said it earlier, what you do is fascinating to me. Just, you and I talk a lot. I've talked to my own son about the idea of, hey, I think you have the mindset you would be a really good city administrator. And then conversely, I sit there and be like, but it will take over your life.
Yes.
Because I'll just throw this out there because it always shocks me, is that for our listening public, if you don't know what Doug drives, and I'm not going to divulge that in case he wants some secrecy and privacy in his life, he's usually here by 7 or 7:30. I would say 3 out of the 5 days a week, he and I are on the phone on my drive to work, his starting of the day. He's here all day. On council nights, he's here till 9 or 10 o'clock at night. There's countless other meetings that he attends that are in the evenings as well. It's just one of those jobs that I think is just so unique and fascinating to me. So that's why, just trying to give you some credit, Doug.
Well, and I've called him up or texted him at times, and because apparently, according to the mayor, I'm older, I've forgotten that he's somewhere camping, sitting by the campfire, and he'll say, well, just a minute, I go, and I'm going, oh, wait, oh my God, you're camping, never mind, we'll get, it's nothing critical, but no, he answers it, the text, the phone call, wherever he's at, however he's at.
That reminds me of him answering anytime, anywhere. Mm-hmm. I was just traveling for work recently to Mexico. He was on vacation. Totally forgot, A, he was on vacation, B, where he was at on vacation, and C, the fact that our time change was quite remarkably different. And I think I called you, ended up being like 4 o'clock your time, a.m.
A little bit.
And he answered the phone. Mm-hmm. And it was one of those things, there was a bit more of a pause before he said, Mr. Mayor. And I knew something was off, and it was like immediately, oops, probably shouldn't have done that because he's going to answer the phone. Anyway, all right, move on to some fun stuff here.
Yep.
Biggest projects happening right now.
There's probably 3 of the biggest projects happening right now. One would be North Park Road, the continuation of the 4-lane highway from Oakdale to the roundabout on Highway 6. That project is scheduled to be done before school starts. That will change that traffic flow, I think, significantly. It improves access to both schools there. So I think that the public will be pretty excited about that when it is done. The next one, the rec center, that's hard to miss. Again, just south of Highway 6 at the roundabout there. That project is moving along really nicely as well. That project will be done in October of this year. We are yet to determine an opening of that. There's going to be some training to do. We'll probably have some form of a soft opening before we kind of hit the ground running there. But that project is coming along really, really nicely. We've been taking some tours of that lately, and what you see on the outside is not what you see on the inside, obviously, because of all of the trades that take place on the inside there. But that project is moving along nicely. That's going to be really, really nice. And it's really going to be a very impressive building when you're driving by on Highway 6 and you're driving, north and south on 380. That will be impressive. And then the last one, which is, a little bit out of sight, out of mind, but our water treatment facility, that project, the upgrade to that facility is happening right now. That is scheduled to be substantially completed, which means that the project or the plant should be online. Project's not probably going to be finished, but it'll be online, end of September, first part of October. So that's going to be a nice improvement to the water quality as far as the hardness goes, inside the city limits. And again, I think the public will be excited about that. They're not going to see a significant difference in the taste or anything like that, but they're going to see that in their fixtures and in their hot water heater and just the functionality of that a little bit. And again, when that project's done, I think people will be excited about that. But that one's off the beaten path a little bit there, south of the railroad tracks, and so you don't really see that, but that's moving along nicely.
Okay, pop quiz. Which one do you think the people of Tiffin are most excited about of those 3?
The rec center.
The rec center.
The rec center.
Okay.
So, I hate
Wow,
to...
that was so quick. I thought there'd
I'm
be
a little
more
surprised
thought.
by that answer, actually.
Yeah, it was.
I hate to, it's 2026. We need to stop using COVID as an excuse, right? But
Right.
the rec center was a pre-COVID project for the city. It was probably, well, it wasn't probably, it was the last project that we were looking at before, all hell broke loose in March of 2020. And that project got shelved for several years because of that. So when we brought it off the shelf, it changed a little bit. Location changed, interior changed, exterior changed. We pretty much started all over. But I think it's in a good spot now. I think the changes have been good. I think that the change in the location is going to be long-term beneficial because we've got a couple additional phases that are going to be on that project as the community grows. So, all in all, I think the public will be most excited about that.
Okay.
Conversely, which one are you most excited about? Maybe it's the same.
Of those three, that would be probably the same one. I would say North Park Road traffic is one of the things that I've worked on since day one when I came here. Highway 6, Roberts Ferry Road, North Park Road, Oakdale, Forever Green Road. Those are all big arterial streets that have gone through its own set of growing pains as the community has grown. So North Park Road becoming 4 lanes, from Highway 6 up to Forever Green Road, much like Roberts Ferry Road here between Railroad Street and Highway 6, which didn't exist, in 2014. It didn't really get finished until the latter part of 15 or even the first part of 16, but that changed the traffic pattern of the entire community. A lot of people thought, since everybody went through the original part of town to get up to Highway 6, they just thought it was going to change the traffic patterns of the original part of town. And I said, no, that road's going to change the traffic pattern of patterns of the entire community. Mm-hmm. I think that North Park Road going to 4 lanes might not have that same exact effect that Roberts Ferry Road did, but it's going to have a huge impact once it gets 4 lanes, because it's serving both high-density residential and commercial at the same time, plus an access to 380 that can take you either direction, north and south, to where you want to go.
The thing that I think about those, I was just doing an interview a couple of weeks ago, and the reporter asked me what the next 5 years looks like, or I can't remember the exact question. Mm-hmm. And it kind of spur of the moment, as I was thinking about it, like, in the next 5 years, a lot of the main infrastructure things will be done. Not to say that the work's never done, and we can't plan for everything, but those main infrastructure projects will be done. I got to imagine, particularly from you, starting where you did with Tiffin, that's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, it does. It does. A lot of these projects have been growth driven. When you've got that kind of growth, you have you have debt capacity that grows. We borrow for projects differently now than what we used to because of what that capacity is. So without that, some of these things, I don't want to say wouldn't have happened, but they would have taken longer to happen. So that's been rewarding, I guess to see. And as priorities, come on from the council, knowing that we can, take these additional projects on and still be fiscally sound, that's rewarding as well. A lot of communities don't have that. I do, and I grew up in a rural Iowa community. Most people do, and I worry about, believe it or not, I worry about the rural Iowa communities that might not be able to keep up with those kind of infrastructure things like we have been fortunate enough to do. So, again, I don't take that for granted. I don't think anyone on the council takes that for granted either, because that's really kind of another backbone of how your city can grow, is if you've got the infrastructure that can handle it.
Right.
Okay, I've got a question. You talked about North Park Road and where it goes up to 380. Give us a synopsis on what they're doing up at what I call Little Sahara up there, where on Forever Green Road, where we're going to build the roundabout.
Yes. So you notice that didn't make my top 3.
I noticed that.
That was not on purpose, but technically speaking, that is a joint project between the city of North Liberty and the city of Tiffin. Mm-hmm. It is being generaled by the city of North Liberty. So what that means is that they've engineered it, they bid it, they're going to administer it, and they're going to inspect it. And when it's all said and done, and we already have this prearranged, but when it's all said and done, they'll send us an invoice, we'll pay the invoice, the project will be done. But that roundabout up there, obviously been a long time coming, a resolution to that intersection. That intersection at last count, which has been several years, it was August of 2024 that we stopped doing traffic counts through that intersection, was over 8,000. Obviously it's
a day?
Yes, 8,000. And that's just coming and going. We didn't do turning movements or anything like that as far as where people were going. We were just counting the traffic going to and from passing through that intersection. So obviously it's more today than what it was in 2024. But having that roundabout completed where it's free-flowing traffic and you've got access in every direction is going to be, it's even really hard to put into words just how awesome that's going to be to not have that wonky intersection, the way that it is right now.
Will you say North Liberty is the general, they get the general contract. Will we be able to make sure they're doing it so that it's going to be beneficial?
Yeah, so we were involved in the very beginning.
Okay.
The city was, our engineers were, we were part of the design review, and of course that project gets reviewed at 30%, 60%, 90%. We were all a part of that. We attend the progress meetings. We were at the bid opening. We've worked on this thing jointly with them, even though, I would say they've done probably the majority of the heavy lifting. It's not like we've, sat on the sideline and just watched and said thank you.
Yeah.
But, we are thankful that they agreed to general the project, but we have had a significant amount of involvement.
So at some point in time, you're going to have to go to that farmer and get his boots again to walk out there and make sure, the ones you're using down at City Cleanup. And, borrow those boots from the farmer and go out and make sure that
you guys make it
good.
Sound like
that's amazing.
I don't know what manual labor is, and I've been telling you that's how I started in this.
All right, that might be a good segue. We cover Forever Green.
Sure.
Obviously, there's a lot. It's not the only, but that is a good portion of where our commercial development is being seen. Doug mentioned it earlier. It's a good portion of your day-to-day, Doug. So, put you on the spot here. What businesses are coming to town? Tell us all the secrets.
That's right.
Well, the only ones that I'm probably at liberty to talk about is we obviously have a new hotel that broke ground about 3 weeks ago at the northeast corner of Oakdale and North Park Road, Atwell Suites.
Yeah, Atwell.
Again, another amenity that we've been working on for quite some time is to get a hotel. The city actually passed the hotel motel tax even before I got here. So the hotel motel tax was actually in place prior to 2015. Excuse me. So that'll be really nice when that opens up. On the west end of town, we have Dollar General. Dollar General broke ground in March or April of this year. I think they actually started moving some dirt in.
Do we know what
March.
they're anticipated?
So they have a spring
date?
I'm sorry. They started in the spring. They've got a fall
date.
Fall opening date.
The walls are up, the roof's on.
I'll be honest, I haven't been over there.
The skin is around the building. So that is just east of the vet clinic there, just south of Highway 6. So again, that's a nice amenity.
And to add a plug, nobody wanted that more than this guy right here.
That's right.
Doug's a big Dollar General fan, so
Dollar General-aholic is the kind of thing.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
He's even talking about lunch. Noontime. He's going to run out there and pick stuff up. It's like
Cornerstone Pub, which again is in the first floor of the Ventnor building up in Park Place. I think that's probably, it's getting closer. Mm-hmm. I understand that they are doing some training right now of their employees, so I think that's pretty close. That's probably all I should say at this point.
Talk a little bit, because it's not necessarily the traditional business, but maybe talk about assisted living.
Yeah, Clear Creek Village on Village Drive. That would be just west of the water tower. They had a groundbreaking ceremony about a month ago. And again, that was another, pre-COVID project. It's a niche that the city doesn't have. We've been aggressive in trying to recruit a facility like that. So that is really going to be an impressive facility. when you're traveling east and west on Interstate 80, to be able to look off to the north and see that, that's going to be a very impressive facility. And again, it's something that we don't have. It's something that this community has wanted for several years. So we're really pleased to see that project come to fruition. We started talking to the developer about that in 2015. The council passed a resolution that was in the form of some assistance to that in 2016. And things were moving, I would say, along. It wasn't specifically with this entity, but we were working on that with actually a couple different entities, and then things kind of stalled out with that. But yeah, it's really nice to see that going and moving some dirt. And it's a 2-year build. Obviously, it's a big facility, but that'll be really nice when that's done.
I think something that may be interesting, we can just talk roundtable this, but I think one of the things that is a big misconception amongst most residents is the we don't get to just pick and choose which businesses come to town. And I think, Doug, I know you just got back from ICSC. I was out there 2 years ago. We've been sending a small group for 3 or 4 years now.
Wait. Tell us what ICSC is. People aren't going to know it by the abbreviation.
Do you have the abbreviation? I don't remember. It's where everybody gathers from a municipal standpoint to check out retail establishments across the country.
And cities can go there and so to speak, sell their
sell
properties.
The city, shop
Sure.
what's out there, who's looking for what. I think the thing that, again, a little bit of a misconception is that we don't get to just say, hey, Dollar General, come to town. Okay, we'll do it. It doesn't work that way. And there are a lot of things that are beneficial by us being surrounded by our neighboring municipalities in North Liberty, Iowa City, Coralville. But there's also some things that hurt us a little bit by being so close. And so I think, I don't know, while we're on the topic, I just think it's an important thing to talk about. So I guess all of that said, Doug, when are we going to get a Chick-fil-A in town?
Well, that might be a couple of years.
Mayor, you bring up a good point, because at one point out there in social media, I saw that someone say, well, why did we get a second Quick Star in Tiffin? We already have one. Well, actually, the one on Forever Green Road is in North Liberty, but also it was Quick Star's idea. Once the council says, okay, this is the type of property and businesses that can go here, we don't necessarily say, oh yeah, we want you to be in that corner. If they qualify for what we've set the parameters for that property, they can buy the property from the developer and build. So it wasn't like we promoted Quick Star in 2 different locations. Quick Star wanted to be there. The location was zoned properly, and they built. So, like you said, the same thing with people going, why did the city go out and get this business? It's like, we didn't. We just zoned the property. The business wanted to be in town.
Now, that said, though, we do recruit.
Yeah,
we do recruit.
Yes,
so,
yes.
I think that's also an important factor of it, though, is that, and I think this spills into another question is what are we hearing people want the most of? And I think, like going out to ICSC, I know we have that list of saying, hey, if we want to target a breakfast restaurant, or we want to target a sports apparel store or something like that. I know that those are all targets. Maybe talk a little bit, Doug, about what's on the top of your mind that you've heard from either council or from residents of where those targets are.
Economic development is one of the more interesting things that I get to deal with. And again, being the location that Tiffin is, I get that opportunity, and I'm very thankful for that. As you guys both kind of alluded to, economic development, sometimes we are recruiting businesses and entities and prospects to come inside our city limits. Sometimes they come to us, that they know about us, or they're in an expansion mode, and this is the logical next step for them. in some cases through our partnerships with the state, with the county, so on and so forth, we get leads for things. And, all of those are a little bit different in the way that you approach things. One of the things that is beneficial for Tiffin is in 2015, we approved an economic development policy. Tax increment financing policy. We have an incentive matrix that we use if that business qualifies, or if there needs to be some sort of financial assistance. Incentives move the needle. Everybody knows that, but not everybody gets assistance just because they ask.
Right.
That's not just a given. So again, that's kind of how all those things start. Mm-hmm. We constantly hear food. We constantly hear about bringing things that add to the quality of life of our residents, improve the quality of life of what is here, or mm-hmm. potentially enhances other companies, other businesses that we already have here. Mm-hmm. If it's an area that already has a significant amount of foot traffic, there are certain businesses that go better there than in our industrial park that's south of Interstate mm-hmm. 80. So again, it's kind of site specific. From time to time, again, we hear a lot about food, but overall, it's kind of all under the umbrella of how can we improve the quality of life of our citizens, of our community as a whole.
Mm-hmm. So we're not going to be able to get to the whole list. I just received a reminder from producer Ashley that we're getting long on time.
We're bumping
here.
Our head on the
evidently.
On
so
okay.
I do like one question here because it's a reoccurring theme, and I think
you're looking at the same one I am.
It's a reoccurring theme that we hear of a lot, and I think it is genuinely important to everybody in this room. But how do we continue to balance growth while keeping community character?
I mentioned this before, that this is an easy answer, and it's leadership. Okay? Leadership provides the tools and the mechanisms for, I don't want to use the word slow, but I'm going to say organized, managed growth. And what that means is that the city has the policies and procedures, whether they be ordinances or economic development policies, that enhance those opportunities. It also falls on having a strong planning and zoning commission. It falls on the fact that the city updates its comprehensive plan, either when needed or at the very least every 10 years. It also plays into a fact that we have a strong capital improvements plan. So we are able to prioritize these things, these projects, and be able to finance them. Mm-hmm. Goal-setting sessions from the council, again, that help prioritize not only the big projects, but the smaller projects that we can do kind of operationally within an annual city budget, as opposed to borrowing, whatever that number is, $5 to $10 million on something that's a much bigger, a bigger project. Sure. And again, when you roll all of that together, it is organized, managed growth, and at the center of that is good leadership, great participation, community input, community buy-in. And again, you kind of keep that train moving down the track in that direction, and I don't want to say hope for the best, but in some cases you got to get a little lucky too.
Correct.
Because we were able to manage things through COVID. Not everybody did. Unfortunately, not everybody did. The state legislature is always throwing a curveball at us in reference to property taxes or some sort of new legislation that that's going to affect, how we manage either the city's budget or how we just manage in general. The DNR, that's another entity that you've got to work very closely with. Sometimes you get some unfunded mandates that you have to deal with in your water and wastewater treatment facilities. But again, the center of that is leadership. The center of that is, keeping that train on the track. And you don't have to go 100 miles an hour down that track. But if you're going 30, 35 miles an hour on the track and everybody's on board, very simply put, good things are going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, Mayor, he said it was a simple answer. That didn't sound real simple to me. That sounded rather almost like a chess match to me. It's okay,
it was quite involved for somebody who always wanted to be a banker.
Or who started on a garbage truck.
His dream was dashed of wanting to be a banker. I actually thought a lot of that answer was geared towards our good friend Skylar Limkeman. So Skylar, if you're listening, go back and listen to the last 2 to 3 minutes where Doug talks about controlled growth versus speed and how that all works. It's great answer. Okay, we are short on time, but I do like this last question. One word to describe Tiffin's future.
Bright. Very bright. That's 2 words. How about very, very bright?
Okay.
I'll give you another word. Exciting. It's exciting.
Probably. He was looking at us when he said those words. I think he was talking about us a little bit.
I think he was talking about this podcast.
Yeah, specifically the 2 of us.
He's laughing again. He's laughed a lot today.
Any final messages that you want to share?
I guess maybe the last message would be is that there's a lot going on here, and I know that you can't get all of the information of everything that's going on from our Facebook page, from our website. It's too much. You can't get that full picture. So, I would recommend for people that want to be involved, want to know a little bit more, want to get excited about these things is what we do. Come to our council meetings. Reach out to the mayor and the council and send emails, ask questions that way. Ask us questions as far as the staff members go. All of that's on the website. Did I say come to our council meetings? Come to our council meetings. Come to our work sessions. Our work sessions are highly productive. And those are meetings where the council's not making decisions. We don't vote on anything in those meetings. It's for direction and discussion. And a lot of that stuff ends up on a future council meeting. So, the more involvement that we can get from the community, just the better the whole picture becomes.
I always tell people if you want to see what's happening in the city, the work sessions are the best place to do that.
And it's a little time commitment, but it'll pay huge dividends in that you will know what's going on in the city or which direction we're heading possibly. Yeah. So, yeah, well spent time, I believe. Great final words, Doug. MPT, anything to talk about with? No, I just want to thank Doug for being here and appreciate you taking the time. Again, it's 7:20 tonight. And you were gracious enough to stay here with us and help us get the word out to Tiffin about what's going on. So thank you very much. Thank you, Doug. I'm not going to get all misty-eyed here. Don't be thinking I'm going to cry all over the set here. But Doug, I was just noticing the other day, Doug is now my number 1 contact in my phone. And because that just has to happen apparently when we talk as much as we do, and has quickly become one of my favorite people. So really appreciate everything that you do for the city, for the council, for me personally. I'll say it's been a wonderful couple of years that I've been here, and I can't wait for the future and all of us working even more together. So. Are you trying to scare him by saying he's your number 1 contact in your phone?
I'm not sure how to take that.
Yeah, I think I would.
It's probably something that could get me in trouble.
Doug, you can mute that phone about 3:30 in the morning till whenever you wake up. So,
well, I mean, full disclosure though, when I talk about our morning conversations on our drives to work,
okay,
it's usually him calling me. Just gotta put that out there. All right.
That's not true.
I know that's not true.
Thank you, Tiffin community. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, Doug Boldt. Thank you, MPT, Tim Orris. Stay tuned for our next episode. It's sure to be a good one.
That's right. Until next time.
Thank you.